Just a heads up to you folks sitting with a notebook and pen, Mishki, the new podcast here in Garage Logic Land, is now coming out twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. If you're in fact scribbling this down, Wednesday is kind of tough to spell. It's not like it sounds. You want to spell it W-E-N-Z, but that, of course, would be a mistake. Friday is spelled just like it sounds. You're going to be okay there, but Wednesday's a bugaboo. Let me tell you, people, just a pain in the patootie. Jeez, it's hard.
Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1685, December 22nd, 2025. Get a hold of yourself, Flashlight King. 53 degrees, the record high on this day. Guess when that was?
Last year.
1890.
Oh.
And it was 20 below on this day in 1983.
I was delivering papers.
Call Josh Arnold at 952
Noted.
925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the Flashlight King.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your Flashlight
The only
King,
guy who did a
fireworks
clothing machine
commissioner,
for the photo.
and the keeper of common sense.
He also waves to himself every day. Looking good.
Merry Christmas 2025 from the Lake Detective. And once again, he sent that beautiful and coveted card of little teeny trees. Well, actually, it's milfoil decorated with ornaments. Everybody?
Yeah, it looks good.
And
Let me
he
see
never
over here.
fails. He always sends us a wonderful
Let's see this
card. Here.
Oh, yeah.
Little milfoil
Love
decorated
that.
with...
How does he get down there with those ornaments, you know?
That's a good question. What's this? Is he on the air?
Oh, no, I just thought I'd play his
Oh, for God's sake.
introing for this Christmas card.
I went to the Stephen C. concert at the Cathedral. I went to the matinee Friday. Write it on your calendar for next year if you've not attended.
I would agree.
It's all it's cracked up to be.
Yes.
Now, Rook, maybe you went the previous night. You went on Thursday evening. So I didn't see the kids' choir because apparently the kids were in school Friday afternoon.
I wouldn't say that you didn't get the entire show, but the kids' choir really added
Which was a new wrinkle this year.
Yeah, it added a neatness to it. You know, kids singing.
I didn't want a long...
I thought you wanted a full review.
So...
Part 2.
I let myself go, and I thought, this is very European. The cathedral was darkened, and there were a number of soft lightings on the pillars behind the altar.
Yes.
That would change colors. And I thought, what the hell? I could be in Vienna or Prague or Berlin. It just felt very European to me.
I would agree.
And it was just, it was very lovely. A lot of GLers.
There were
A lot of GLers.
quite a number on Thursday night as well.
But
the
tell your
sound
friends who aren't GLers.
Yeah.
GLers are wise to this. Tell your friends who aren't GLers that you want to get this on your calendar for next year. It was very, very different. Very wonderful.
Being handed a bulletin here, sir.
Okay.
This just in.
Yes, I have a letter written by how many mayors do we know?
98.
98 mayors representing cities across the state of Minnesota.
Are you one of them?
I am.
Yeah, you
I
were
am.
included, weren't you?
Have written a letter to the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, dated today. Today's December 22nd. Actually, they sent it to Minnesota State representatives, senators, and Governor Walz. As mayors representing cities of every size across the state of Minnesota, we are on the front lines of delivering essential services, maintaining public safety, and ensuring that our communities remain places where families and businesses can thrive. It is from this position of direct responsibility that we write to express deep concern and growing frustration about the fiscal direction of the state and its increasing impact on our cities and the residents we serve. Minnesotans watched a historic $18 billion surplus disappear in a single biennium, only to now face an updated projected $2.9 billion to $3 billion deficit in the 2028-2029 biennium. As mayors, we see firsthand how these decisions ripple outward. Fraud, unchecked spending, and inconsistent fiscal management in St. Paul have trickled down to our cities, reducing our capacity to plan responsibly, maintain infrastructure, hire and retain employees, and sustain core services without overburdening local taxpayers. The recent Minnesota Chamber of Commerce report shows our state slipping in national economic rankings, and these statewide indicators match what we observe at the local level. Between 2019 and 2024, Minnesota ranked 234th in the country's national economic rankings. I don't know how you rank 234. There's only 50 states.
Right.
But I don't doubt a word. These young, old, male, female. How many mayors signed this, Gabe?
98.
Oh my God! The letter continues. I'm sorry. The letter continues. On top of these economic realities, many Minnesota cities are confronting significant property tax levy pressures. Preliminary statewide data on average for 2026 shows cities may raise levies by up to 8.7%, with counties up to 8.1%. These increases are not simply local decisions. They stem directly from state policies, mandates, and cost shifts that leave cities with no choice but to pass these burdens on to homeowners and businesses. As mayors, we are committed to responsible budgeting, fiscal restraint, and delivering high-quality local services. Yet there is a growing disconnect between state-level fiscal decisions and the strain they place on the cities we lead. When the state expands programs or shifts responsibilities without stable funding, it is our residents, families, seniors, businesses, and workers who ultimately bear the cost. Cities are the level of government closest to the people, responding when snowplows don't arrive, when streetlights or water mains fail, when businesses need permitting help, or when seniors seek support. Every unfunded mandate or cost shift forces us into difficult choices: raise taxes, cut services, delay infrastructure, or stretch thin city staff even further. This strain now extends to the very core of community safety, our police and firefighters. They are the frontline protection for our residents, yet rising levies and state-imposed costs are making it increasingly difficult for cities to invest in the additional public safety and staff our communities genuinely need to feel safe. Minnesotans expect the following from their elected leaders: responsible and transparent state budgeting, a regulatory and tax environment that supports jobs and economic growth, protection for taxpayers, especially those on fixed incomes, stability and predictability for local governments, long-term fiscal sustainability that does not rely on one-time windfalls. When these expectations go unmet, cities feel the consequences first, and our residents feel them the most. We extend our sincere appreciation to the legislators who continue to advocate for fiscal discipline, pro-growth policies, and local government stability. Your work is not unnoticed. At the same time, we must emphasize our residents deserve better than deficits, economic decline, and policies that push families and businesses away. We, as mayors, can only support our cities for so long before the heavy hand of state mandates and financial pressure demands more than our communities can provide. Although state statute requires a balanced budget, relying on one-time surplus dollars to support ongoing commitments has created structural strain, reducing our state's ability to sustain existing programs or invest in new ones in the years to come. Our state owes it to the citizens to practice responsible fiscal management and to stop taxing our families, seniors, and businesses out of Minnesota. we urge the legislature to course correct and to remember that every dollar you manage belongs not to the capital but to the people of Minnesota. Respectfully, the undersigned mayors of Minnesota. 98, you said? 98 mayors signed this. Walz is a devastating force in Minnesota. He must be gone. Put him in a witness protection program, put him in jail, do something. He's got to be gone. He has ruined this state. These 98 mayors merely corroborate what we've been dealing here in an urban area.
Yeah.
The problem is nobody's going to see this unless you listen or watch Garage Logic or Alpha News, American Experiment. You won't see or hear of this. Walz.
You're not going to hear about it in the Minnesota Star Tribune, which has quite clearly positioned itself as a Walz apologist.
And Walz himself certainly isn't going to comment on this.
We are in big, big trouble, people, and Walz is the reason. I have the ways Walz can be recalled. Let me find it.
By whom? Normal people? Or?
Well, a guy looked it up on AA, just the technical things that must be accomplished.
On what?
On AA. What's that?
On AI, I'm sorry.
Oh.
This is how
Hi,
you
my
would-
name's Chris.
Yeah. Hi. Chris R.
I'm Joe. There is a legal process to recall a governor in Minnesota outlined in the state constitution, Article 8, Section 6, and Statutes, Chapter 211C, requiring a petition with specific grounds like malfeasance, nonfeasance, or a serious crime, followed by a multi-step review by election officials and the Supreme Court, and ultimately a public recall election if enough signatures, 25% of the last election's votes, are gathered. Grounds for recall. The basis for recalling a Minnesota governor must be one of the following. Malfeasance, intentionally committing an unlawful or wrongful act in performing official duties that infringes on another's rights. I would say he's guilty of that. Nonfeasance, repeatedly and intentionally failing to perform required duties of the office. Okay, in fact, I would go with nonfeasance over malfeasance. Serious crime, conviction of a serious crime during the term of office. That's no. The recall. So there's only three reasons: malfeasance, nonfeasance, and serious crime. I say Walz is guilty of nonfeasance. Repeatedly and intentionally failing to perform required duties of the office. He has repeatedly and intentionally failed to enforce the stopgap measures with his agency heads that would have stopped fraud. We've heard that from a legislator. We've heard that from people who work for the Department of Human Services. The word came down from the top: keep the money going out the door. That's Walz. He is guilty of nonfeasance. So what do we have to do? At least 25 people. Look this up for me. There's already a petition underway. Could you guys find this, a petition to recall Walz? At least 25 eligible voters must file an application with the Secretary of State, including a fee and the grounds for recall. The Secretary of State sends the proposal to the Supreme Court, which appoints a special master for a public hearing to determine if the grounds are sufficient. If the court finds sufficient grounds, a new petition is issued requiring signatures from at least 25% of the voters in the last general election for that office. Signatures are submitted to election officials for verification. And believe me, they'll treat that verification far more seriously than they treat any voter. Recall election. If enough valid signatures are verified, the governor orders a recall election where voters decide whether to remove the official. There you have it. I see.
The governor
gone.
Sets a recall election?
Yeah.
They've already tried to recall him a few times during COVID.
Yeah,
and
you can see that when you do a Google search. You're right, Kenny.
Minnesota Supreme Court they've shut that down.
Okay.
It's not going to happen.
Well, the other thing I was looking up was how many people voted in the last general election for governor, and it's, around 2.5 million people.
Okay, what's 25%?
That's
of
what
that?
I was going to get at. And what is 25% of that is 1 million, right?
Well, I'll sign it. There's one.
But are you going to get 1 million
I
people?
don't know, Chris. I don't know. I'm just telling you
That's the process.
that he should not be in office.
We all
Well,
agree.
nobody disagrees with that. We're just telling you this ain't going to happen.
I'm afraid you're right. I'm afraid that that's a long shot. But I do know there's a petition now
And sorry, before you go
calling
on.
for this.
And you know what you said about him last week? How would he spin this? He would gaslight. See, I'm being attacked by these Trump wannabe voters here in Minnesota. The MAGA Republican voters are coming after me.
He continues to play his nonfeasance off Trump, Trump was not in office. Biden was in office when the fraud started and really picked up momentum. That was the Biden administration. It had nothing to do with Trump, nor does it have anything to do with Trump now. Walz is gaslighting when he says this is Trump's fault. It's not. The Star Tribune should be ashamed of itself. Today they have another covering piece for Walz on the front page, which suggests that, well, yes, some money's been stolen, but not nearly what the federal prosecutors allege. Well, you're a prostitute. You're just arguing about the price at this point.
The headline, Walz, sensationalism, not proof, is behind the $9 billion prosecutors.
I can address
cite.
that with our friend Bill Glahn from the American Experiment. What is proof? What is evidence? The debate over how much fraud has been committed against Minnesota social welfare programs has now gone national. Joe Thompson, the first assistant U.S. attorney and lead prosecutor of the fraud case, appeared on the Fox News Laura Ingraham show last night. You know why it's always Fox? Because why CNN probably doesn't want Joe Thompson on.
Right.
This reflects poorly against Democrats. Gee whiz, that's getting more difficult, isn't it?
Well, with that recycled paper, it kind of tends to stick together as opposed to that virgin stuff.
The Star Tribune reported
Flies
John
on.
Conley, Deputy Commissioner and State Medicaid Director at the Department of Human Services, said his agency has seen evidence of tens of millions of dollars in fraud, not $9 billion. Okay. Tens of millions of dollars in fraud refers to the dollar amounts of the fraud against DHS-run Medicaid programs that Thompson is already prosecuting. Apparently, federal grand jury indictments are the only evidence that the state DHS accepts as indicative of any wrongdoing. Shouldn't the information be flowing in the other direction? A damning statement from state officials. Again, in an ideal world, the information should be flowing in the opposite direction. It seems premature not to include an identification of the individuals responsible and the methodology by which they allegedly committed the crime. Tip off the suspects so they can flee the country. If the years-long fraud scandal, we've already seen instances where state officials have tipped off fraudsters regarding the ongoing investigations. But beyond that, a spokesperson for the U.S. Attorney's Office said it cannot legally share evidence obtained pursuant to a grand jury subpoena. So we may be left with a he said situation. On one side, we have a Stanford-educated career prosecutor with an impressive record of obtaining convictions inside the courtroom and out. On the other, we have Tim Walz. Thompson makes his living proving complex criminal cases beyond a reasonable doubt. Over the years, Walz has blamed the Minnesota fraud cases ultimately and concurrently on a county judge, President Trump, fictional bureaucrats, former state bureaucrats, and the state's AAA credit rating. On a related note, Bill Glahn, came across this headline from the Washington Examiner. Internal Minnesota Attorney General memo settles debate on Somali fraud. The Examiner reported Senator John Kennedy, Republican Louisiana, may have provided the answer in remarks delivered earlier this month that have only recently come to the media's attention. The senator is quoted. Kennedy read a passage from an internal memo written by a fraud investigator within the Minnesota Attorney General's office, a document that gave the game away. Quote, there is a perception that forcefully tackling this issue would cause political backlash from the Somali community, which is a core voting bloc for Democrats. Here's what I fear is happening, and it shouldn't happen. We're seeing the third rail in a desperate... We're seeing it with the Epstein files, and now you're seeing it with fraud in Minnesota. The third rail is doing everything it can to protect its own.
Yep.
The obfuscation and the gaslighting are to protect their own. You're seeing it with the Epstein files. The hell with the public. These people don't care about us, whether they're right or left. They don't care about us. They're protecting their own nest, whether it's Epstein or this. The trouble is the Walz sins are going to leave this state devastated. The Epstein sins are going to leave some individuals devastated. But the Walz nonfeasance is ruining this state. Nope. And the third rail has jumped into action to protect Walz and all of the other cohorts involved in this, including the Attorney General, who should also be gone.
It nearly was in the last election.
Let me gather my thoughts.
Please.
Well, a fun thing to think about. I know we're getting near Christmas, and I didn't know we were going to, there's a Christmas sale at EcoFun, okay? It's the most fun store you'll go to. It's right in Forest Lake / Columbus. It's on Highway 97, immediately west of 35. And right now, you go in and buy any e-bike, ATV, youth ATV, dirt bike, golf cart, wave runner, motorcycle, or scooter. You're getting a free 16-inch electric bike that you can give to one of the kids or the grandkids. Step through electric bikes. $18.99, regularly on sale for $8.99, plus get the bike for the kid for free.
Let's go.
You got ATVs with 50-inch plows on sale for $58.99, plus that qualifies you for the free 16-inch e-bike. Yamaha generators in stock. Pull start and $10.99 for the electric start. I don't know what about the bike on that one. At that point, what are you worried about? You're there. Have fun. They have some used stuff, too. But listen, if you've not been to EcoFun, this is a marvelous Christmas sale. It really is. EcoFunMotorsports.com. Check out that website. Also, there's a store in Burnsville. EcoFun Motorsports on the service road of life, right off County Road 42, and in Forest Lake / Columbus, right off the Interstate 35 on Highway 97, just west. 2 roundabouts, 3 roundabouts, bing, bang, boom, you're there. Great big new building. You'll have fun. EcoFunMotorsports.com.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
You need a last-minute gift, I can give you 3 of them, and you don't even have to go shopping till late on Christmas Eve night. You just have to find a Knack Hardware, a big box store that's open. Seafoam Santa here. I'm going to tell you, it's Seafoam, the motor treatment. Get a couple, 2-3 cans of that. That's going to help the cylinders of your loved ones. Get a can or two of Deep Creep. That's the best shop lubricant you can buy. It creeps deeper, it works harder, it lasts longer, quickly cutting through rust and buildup of all sorts. It loosens, lubricates, and protects parts and mechanisms. And, of course, if you can find it, it's rare in the winter, but Bugs Be Gone is probably the funnest product that Seafoam sells. It's, it used to be time-consuming and aggravating, and you could get squeegee elbow trying to clean bugs off. You won't do that with Bugs Be Gone. You spray it on, you watch it melt the bugs away, and then wash it away with ease. There you go. Late-minute gift ideas from Seafoam, the courtesy of your Seafoam Santa.
There's a fellow I've read from time to time named Gad Saad, S-A-A-D. He was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and then his family fled to Montreal, Quebec in 1975. He was born in 1964, so what is he, 61? Is that right?
If he was born in when?
Correct.
1964.
Yeah.
Yes.
To both Lebanese Jewish and Syrian Jewish parents. His family fled in October 1975 to Montreal to escape the Lebanese Civil War. He obtained degrees in mathematics and computer science and an MBA in marketing from McGill University and an MS in management and a PhD in marketing from Cornell. He currently is teaching at the John Mason School of Business at Concordia College. He's an author. He has a YouTube television location with more than 40.4 million views. I just see him occasionally on social media. And we want to play this. I was alerted to it. We also have reached out to Mr. Saad. Is that correct? And I would love to have him on the show if he ever gets our... He's one of the guys against wokeness because he finds it so disconcerting and as it applies to cultural life. And this happens to be Gad Saad. This was posted when?
December 6th.
December 6th. And I don't know if he's even doing this in relation to the fraud Minnesota is experiencing.
But he might as well have.
He might as well have. I don't know what compelled this particular take from Mr. Saad, but it's to me fascinating.
It's Saturday evening. I was not planning on doing a clip this late into the night, but the defense of truth shall never rest. So some of you have been sharing clips of Somali men either saying or doing all sorts of outrageous things. So there's one clip that's going around where a Somali guy is standing on top of the Hollywood stars passageway, and he's standing over the one of Donald Trump, and he's literally urinating on it. Now, you don't see Vietnamese immigrants or Haitian immigrants or Japanese immigrants or Armenian immigrants doing that. Why is that? Right? There are endless immigrants that come to the United States, and yet they don't seem to engage in these types of behaviors. You're now seeing Somali guys saying, we're sorry that Donald Trump won't be alive when we have taken over the United States. You don't hear Vietnamese people saying that. You don't hear Armenians saying that. Why is that? Cultures have certain internalized codes. I've said this over and over again. Somali society is driven by a very strict code of us versus them. You are Somali first. That's why a lot of people say, even if they're now in the United States, their first allegiance is to Somalia. Ilhan Omar has said it, right? So first I am Somali. I'm also first Muslim, right? So I don't pledge allegiance to the United States because my coalitional calculus does not permit me to do that. So if you allow hundreds of thousands of people to come into a society that was founded on the principle that, of course, we welcome immigrants, but all of your identity markers are superseded by your loyalty to the unifying flag of the United States. That is simply not true of most Somalis. By the way, they'll say it, right? You can see them in endless clips where they say, no, I'm a Somali. I first care about Somalia, and so on and so forth. So let me read you a quote from page 208 of my 2011 book, The Consuming Instinct. I truly wish that more people would rediscover this book, because it's a book that not only applies evolutionary psychology to understand our consumatory nature, but it really demonstrates the power of evolutionary theory in explaining all sorts of important human phenomena. So on page 208, where I'm talking at that point about tribalism and coalitional psychology, I cite a book called The Hajj by Leon Uris. And so here this is the quote. So before I was 9, I had learned the basic canon of Arab life. It was me against my brother, me and my brother against our father, my family against my cousins and the clan against the tribe, and the tribe against the world, and all of us against the infidel. This very powerful quote perfectly and fully captures the psychology of Somali culture. Good luck, United States. You've had a nice run.
Boom. You nailed it.
I don't like that sign off.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact of a guy urinating on a Trump sign, I don't think right now, unfortunately, that wouldn't be limited to Somali guys.
No,
There's a lot of people pissing on a Trump sign, right. So let's clear that up. And secondly, I forgot to mention, he is a practicing psychologist. I have heard Ilhan Omar. She has literally said she's there for Somalia.
Right.
During the election, there was bits and pieces of information we could gather that she was angry that certain clans didn't vote for Omar Fateh. Mm-hmm. So I played this today because I happen to think this fellow is correct. Beyond that, he echoes many things that have become evident to us. And I'm sure there are Somalis who know this, and maybe they've broken free of that psychology, or what he calls the coalition of their culture. What was the term he used? The calculus, the calculus of the coalition, which means I'm against my brother, me and my brother are against my dad, me and my family are against our cousins, but then we're all against the clan, and then we're all against the tribe, and we're all against the infidel. I think we're dealing with something that obviously Minnesota of all places is not dealt with, and we're seeing the ramifications of it.
So
I don't know how this would play into. It would be interesting. I hope we hear from Saad. I'd love to know how he can tie this to fraud, because I'm sure he could.
So if what he says is true, where do we go from here?
Well, what I would do, and I would apply this to everybody, not just Somalis, if I was the king of Minnesota, I'm tightening up the whole nonprofit game. You're going to have to pass some rigid tests to get any money from the Minnesota taxpayer to pretend you're taking care of autism. Yep. If you fail my test, you're not getting the money.
That's just a hangnail, though, Joe, in their overall scheme and plan of taking over the United States.
Well, I'm trying to prevent us from sounding absurd.
Well, he pretty much said it.
I know. I'm trying to figure out how to say it.
Yeah, it's tough. I know.
Because right now, physically, it couldn't happen.
Right.
The numbers aren't there.
Right.
But look at this state as on itself. We have seen billions and billions of dollars, and it's basically one group that's doing all of this.
Right.
So what are we going to do then, Chris?
Well, like Joe said, it's got to start from the top down. And the problem is, you asked off the show earlier, why are all of these people coming here and picking here to live? Well, number one, there's a great system in place for them to get started, which is great. But number two, it's just going to continue to grow because they're going to continue to support the people that have put these programs in place or in the first place.
Why did Omar Fateh leave Virginia and come to Minneapolis? Well, there were family members here, and he could see election possibilities for himself that he was not achieving in Virginia. He lost a school board race, for God's sakes. So he came here. We haven't heard the last of him.
No.
By the way. So, but the numbers, to say that Minnesota is now run by Somalis is not true. To say that the country is not run by Somalis is not true. What we need to discern is, do Somalis intend to take over the United States? They've made great inroads in Michigan. They're making great inroads in Minneapolis. But I can't, in good faith, say that I believe Somalis are here to control the country.
What do you think the mission is of the newly elected mayor of New York City?
Well, he's not Somali.
I know, but it's that same ideology is my point.
It's the Muslim Islam ideology.
We're infidels.
Yeah.
We're not believers.
So we're just talking around. We're dancing around the outside of the fire ring here. We're not actually getting anything done.
Okay, step into it, please.
Well, somebody's got to come forward and say, you got to go. And that's not what this country is. That will not happen.
It won't happen.
So we have to find a better way of, I don't know, I can't pick the right words either. I was going to say controlling the situation. I don't think that's probably the right words.
Western civilization, as expressed in America, we've been calling it the mystery for many years. Mm-hmm. We now know more about it. Western civilization, I believe, will commit suicide before they ever demand Somalis to leave the country.
Right. And
for fear,
I would say, again, it's not just Somalis.
Well, I don't know of another immigrant group that wants to enforce their own way of life.
And to back that up, when I was living there, knew a ton of Muslims. They were all very chill and loved being here. Yeah, I don't know a lot.
Contributing to society, working.
Yeah. Don't know a lot living up here, obviously.
Well, do we believe Saad's closing remarks? Good luck, United States. You've had a great run.
Well,
he sees it happening.
Yeah, and it is happening all over Europe.
It certainly appears to be happening in London.
Do we just have
Holland?
Do we have a bad batch of Somalis?
No, you weren't paying attention.
No.
It's not a bad batch of Somalis. It's the cultural code of Somaliism. They're
Somalis first.
Their loyalty is to them, their family, their tribe, their clan. Their loyalty is to oppose the infidel. And by the way, all of the Euphorians who embrace the Somalis, their treatment of women is not something that the West would adhere to, and yet we will commit suicide before we say anything.
And they, too, much to their dismay, are infidels.
Mm-hmm. Two other Somalis, you mean?
No, I mean the white liberal guilty
yes.
feeling. Yeah, you're an infidel too.
I know somebody.
These are fun thoughts to send you into Christmas, aren't they?
Hey, happy.
Well,
maybe you could play God sitting around the tree. Play Gad Saad's remarks sitting around the tree and while you're opening presents.
Instead of the night before Christmas.
Yeah, the night before the Somali takeover. Not a creature was stirring. Not even a Somali. It was too cold out.
I think we better stop.
Is there a Somali polka?
No, there isn't.
No, they don't really have Somali polka.
I just know that Trump has said some things and doing some things right now in regards to the Somalis that is getting a lot of pushback across the United States.
Trump is not being helpful.
No.
Because Walz is just smart enough to play Walz against the people of Minnesota.
To play Trump against the people.
Play Trump against the people of Minnesota. When he knows perfectly well the fraud under his watch has nothing to do with Trump. Nothing.
I mean, even in this article that the Star Tribune published today about Walz pushing back against the total, is it $1 billion, is it $1 million, is it $8 billion? He said that the federal prosecutor's orders are coming from Washington, meaning Trump.
I don't believe that.
Right. Nobody does. Because all of this started under Biden.
And you watch the Star Tribune, if they haven't already, will play up the stories of Trump suggesting Mike Lindell would be the best governor of Minnesota. And because the Star Tribune will know perfectly well that will not play with Minnesotans.
Right.
That will not work. A Republican candidate for governor in this state must detach himself or herself from Trump, or they don't stand a chance.
Remember when Walz announced he was going to run again, and he said, I'm going up against a bunch of Trump wannabes.
Yeah, and that's Walz just smart enough to use that and get away with it in this state. I don't know where else he could get away with it. Maybe Illinois.
California.
Maybe Oregon. Maybe California. He wouldn't get away with it in Florida. He wouldn't get away with it in Texas. He wouldn't get away with it in Tennessee.
Here's the problem.
And on and on and on.
The media in this state, the first thing they're going to ask every single one of these candidates for governor is about Trump and his endorsement and his support.
Right.
It does, and they're going to make that the lead of whatever article they write.
Well, will they make it the lead if the candidate says, I absolutely want nothing to do with Trump? We have bigger problems in Minnesota that have nothing to do with Trump. I believe in preserving this state for the residents here. We need to clean up our act.
That's hurtful.
Will that get publicized?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it will, and it'll hurt that candidate.
No, it won't.
Yes, it will,
How?
Joe.
You attach yourself to Trump in this state, you're doomed.
Not out here, you're not.
Well,
you don't. Well, go
you're
ahead.
Doomed in the metro where most of the voters are.
The candidate has to ignore the question. The candidate has to be ambivalent. The candidate has to say, I don't seek, but I don't care. I don't mind if he endorses me, but I'm not seeking that endorsement. The candidate has to play a game of chess with the reporters asking this, and they're going to ask it again and again and again.
Trump's approval ratings have fallen to 35% nationally.
Look, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to tell you you're wrong.
Fact.
You're wrong. Travel outside of the metro.
I have, believe it or not. I'm very aware of.
There's homemade signs everywhere,
Right,
Joe.
Right. I don't think Trump made any fans sticking his name on the Kennedy Center. Well, anyway, Trump does a lot of things that don't make him any fans. He does a lot of things that make him some fans.
SNL had a pretty good bit on...
I can't watch it anymore. It's the same opening every week.
But he was going to rename everything.
And if you didn't watch the Green Bay-Chicago game that went into overtime, I have no time for you. Seriously, I have no time for you.
I'll see
Do you know that
next year,
Saturday
then.
Night Live is
don't watch any NFL
and
ever.
I saw the end of the game.
You didn't see overtime, I bet.
I did too.
How did it end?
Moore caught the long pass in
Would
the
you
end
see a
zone.
replay?
No.
You saw it live?
Yeah, I swear
Jesus.
to you on...
Have you lost
believe
your
you.
mind?
I believe you.
I really did.
Don't start swearing on things.
Okay.
That was me.
I couldn't watch it because Caleb Williams paints his fingernails.
You're such a dork, Chris.
And am I the only one not taking the NFL pill every day?
Hey, I'm desperate for good games because that Vikings game yesterday was the poorest game ever played in the history of the National Football
More to
League.
come on the phone on Monday Night
God
Sports
Almighty, was that
I can't
horrible.
wait for the recap on Sports Talk. It's going to be
If you want to talk about a real sport, talk about how the Wild were so dog-ass tired that they couldn't even skate.
And Colorado
yesterday.
was fresh. I have a new theory about Colorado, too. I bet they love playing at other places because they don't have to work at breathing so hard as they do at 5,200 feet.
Yeah.
The Wild, they were visibly exhausted yesterday.
Remember what lost them the conference finals in 2003 was all the travel.
Yeah. Wasn't yesterday was the third game in a row from them. Didn't they play Fridays and Saturday?
They did not play Friday.
They did play
you
Saturday,
sure?
Sunday.
They played Saturday, Sunday. They played Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
Boy, you are really confrontational. You want to fight?
Go where?
What is confrontational about a fact?
You want to go
Yeah, you're very,
Hey, here we go.
very wound up.
He's
you do a
worried
big
about
with that rail before we went on the line. In the air.
What you got over there?
He's worried about my birthday tomorrow.
That's right.
I'm not worried about it.
I think
But if you need it, you know what a present for you would be?
don't watch the NFL, I'm kicking your ass. I hate fun.
I know deep down he believed me, Kenny. I know. As soon as I said it, he believed me.
No, I believe you.
I know.
But if
Matthew,
you know what I would get you for your birthday if you needed one?
What would you
Noisy door tune-up special
Oh,
from Precision
look at that.
Door.
Oh,
we
Do you
let's
need
go.
one? Do you
Yes,
need one?
Yes, I do.
That was the segue.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you tell him to come over
No,
Monday.
you don't need one.
Oh, it's
Hey,
working
if it's
fine,
on the
right,
mayor's
Gabe?
dime, if it's on the mayor's dime, you'll take
No matter
it.
what you say, he's going to fight you, Matthew.
I know.
You don't really need one, do you?
I love you, Joe.
I'll get you
No,
one.
you don't. You don't love me. You don't love me.
Oh, Jesus. Don't start with you. Precision Garage Door. You need a new door? Precision Door has models for every budget. $100 off a single garage door right now for GLers. $200 off a double door right now for GLers. If you like your door, but you're a little worried she might not make it through the winter, making odd noises. Speaking of which, I got to tell you about some odd noises when we come back.
Hey, now.
And right now, if you like your door, but you're wary about it, get the Noisy Door Tune-Up Special for $149. That's regularly a $290 value, and you get a 25-point safety inspection. Get things taken care of before you're stuck out there in the middle of winter with a door that doesn't work. Book online at precisiondoormn.com. That's one word, precisiondoormn.com. Or call 612-263-6985 to schedule your on-site new door estimate, which is free, of course, or a Noisy Door tune-up special.
What spot are you?
She went to Highland Park High School.
Scoon over, John. Scoon over.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
North American Banking Company. They've been investing in your success since 1998, and way back then, they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you get to know your banker, but they also know you, they know your family, and they know your business, and they take that time to get to know you. And you know what? I've been a customer of North American Banking Company for about 2 years now, and I see that every single time that I walk into my location, which is Roseville, but sometimes I go to 50th and France as well. But you can also see them in Woodbury, Hastings, Shoreview, and also Maple Grove. And they have the same updated online and mobile banking options as all of those other big national banks. And it's true. You can see it for yourself online today. It's nabankco.com. But the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. So once again, see it for yourself. nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
Here's John Heidt.
Thank you, Joe. And this news brought to you by the aforementioned North American Banking Company. Minnesota leaders, more fraud news, by the way, shared more about the new committee tasked with cutting fraud out of state programs this morning. Governor Walz created the Office of Inspector General Coordinating Council.
Oh, that sounds important.
Yeah, it's the OIGCC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the OIGCC.
This is through executive action in September to help state agencies collaborate and share info on the fight to stop fraud. Per his order, Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Superintendent Drew Evans will chair the council, which will also include reps from each state agency's Inspector General's office and members of the BCA's Financial Crimes Unit, Minnesota Management and Budgets Accountability Team, and the Minnesota Department of Administration Grants Management Group. The council, they said, will meet monthly to share investigative data and trends, develop data sharing, and program integrity review processes.
Yeah, you're too late, Walz. 6 years too late.
To help any agencies in need of specialized audits or inspectors, members have already met 3 times since September. Walz appointed O'Malley, the former superintendent of the BCA under former Governor Tim Pawlenty and current interim chief judge of the court administrative hearings earlier this month, and announced that forensic accounting firm Waypoint will advise the state's fraud detection and prevention efforts. Ongoing investigations into several Minnesota agencies have uncovered hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud allegations. Feeding Our Future claims are estimated between $250–300 million. Medicaid reimbursements for the Federal Housing Stabilization Services Program exceed $100 million, and autism centers could exceed $200 million. In October, Governor Walz announcing a third-party audit of those 14 high-risk programs put a 90-day hold on payments to providers to review claims for potential fraud. One of those programs, Housing Stabilization Services, was discontinued on October 31st.
John, this is germane to what you're talking about. Emailer Fran Miller writes, out of curiosity, I Googled autism therapy in Rochester, Minnesota, where I currently live. 20-plus centers appeared on Google Maps, a town of 120,000. Most showed street views of dingy little strip mall storefronts. Some had interior shots, an empty room with an activity cube from IKEA in one corner. I bike by one, and this summer it struck me that there is dust all over the door and windows and no sign of life. I encourage everyone to give it a try. I did the same thing for Cambridge, Minnesota, my hometown. Even Cambridge had several centers. Unbelievable. If Walz gets elected again, I am considering moving. I will be moving once our children graduate from high school. Good luck, Fran. Thank you, John.
Law enforcement investigating an officer-involved shooting Sunday afternoon after a man stole a car and pointed a gun at police in St. Paul. Police say at about 3 in the afternoon, General Motors notified law enforcement that a car had been stolen in Minneapolis, was driving on I-94 toward St. Paul. GM then slowed the car remotely, according to police, eventually bringing the car to a complete stop on the westbound I-94 ramp from Highway 52 at about 3:15 before a man and a woman got out and started running. As the man was running, he allegedly pulled a gun out, pointed it at officers. At that point, officers fired their weapons, hitting the man once in the leg. He was taken to Regents Hospital with a non-life-threatening injury. The woman was also found and taken into custody. No officers injured in the shooting.
You know what else fraud should teach us? I grant you much of the money that's been stolen comes from the feds, but that's still our money. We're taxed too heavily. They have so much money that we're funding so many nonprofits that couldn't be done if you weren't taxed so heavily.
That's what you need to run on, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
St. Paul Police Department said federal agents were involved in a use of force incident Sunday morning after 2 ICE agents were hit by a car during a pursuit. According to police, just after 8:20 in the morning, St. Paul officers were called to the 1300 block of Westminster Street, where gunfire had been reported. After they got there, officers said they learned a federal agent had been hit by a vehicle and fired their weapon in response. On Sunday evening, the Department of Homeland Security posted more info about the incident, which began when federal agents tried to stop a white SUV near Westminster Street on Sunday morning. DHS officials said when ICE agents approached the car and introduced themselves, the man inside, identified as Juan Carlos Rodriguez Romero, an undocumented immigrant, refused to roll down his window and drove off. In the process of driving away, he hit a federal agent, according to DHS. DHS said ICE agents then chased Rodriguez Romero, who allegedly pulled into a parking lot by his apartment before hitting 2 parked cars. Federal agents tried to get Rodriguez Romero out of the car, but DHS officials said he started ramming his car into an ICE vehicle before hitting another agent. The agent who was struck by the car fired his weapon. No one was injured from the gunfire. Rodriguez-Romero drove off again, according to federal authorities, before driving to the front door of his apartment complex and hitting another ICE vehicle. Rodriguez-Romero was eventually arrested while trying to run into his apartment, although DHS said he'd been an ICE agent in the process. 2 federal agents were brought to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, according to DHS.
I wonder what he did or why they wanted him so much. Do we ever know that, or do we just know that he's an illegal?
Just that he was undocumented is all they released. Yeah.
He's also got a bad temper, apparently.
Yeah, and a bad driver, too. He keeps ramming these.
Well, as Royce said to that gentleman at the fair one day, this guy was a one-man wrecking crew.
This guy is a one-man wrecking crew. Get him off the stage. Live around here?
Lucky he didn't take a bullet to the brain.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Kenny.
And flu cases and hospitalizations are surging early this year in Minnesota. The Minnesota Department of Health reported nearly 1,900 cases and 558 hospitalizations in its latest weekly update. The highest cases among kids aged 4 and younger and adults 65 and older. Seniors accounted for most of the hospitalizations. The MDH said the number of cases and hospitalizations is not unusual, but the surge came about 2 weeks earlier than it usually does. In some cases, schools have been affected. A Woodbury charter school announced a 3-day shift to virtual learning, with over 20% of students out with the flu. With holiday travel at its peak, the health department is advising travelers to be considerate if they are sick and need to fly. Why don't we take a quick break here and hear from Mr. Olson?
Yeah, get your baby a Christmas gift this year. I don't mean your wife. I don't mean your husband. I don't mean your side piece. I mean your baby, your vehicle. Schedule a visit to Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care for whatever work that vehicle might need. Body work, general repairs, tires. Oh, here's what you do. Dip your toes in the water. See what it's like. Schedule your next oil change at Schoonover's in Shoreview there, and then you can find out for yourself just how fancy and fantastic they are. I mean, glass, they can do new glass for you all the way around. Even that new fancy glass with all the sensors and electronic stuff, no problem. Why Schoonover, you ask? Well, if you'd been there, you'd already know the answer to that. And if you have been there, you're thinking, yep, been there, done that. I know why. They've been a family-owned business for over 80 years here in the Metro. And now Mike's son, Matthew, part of the staff, that's the 4th generation serving us with honest pricing, expert craftsmanship, and standing behind every job since the 40s. When you pull out of that lot at Schoonover's, you leave knowing that the job was done right by professionals with years of experience. Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care, the official shop of Garage Logic, rocking a 4.9. You know what? I'm going to just round that up and call it a 5.0. That's on Google. And of course, always 5 stars from GLers and us here at the program. Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care, they're at 1060 County Road, Ian Shoreview, and on the web, schoonoverbodyworks.com.
Hey, folks, it's Patrick Ricey, and fruitcake is back on the menu, baby. Let me ask you something. Would you be happy if the only dessert you got this holiday season was fruitcake? Well, no, neither would I. That's what it's like when you've got one insurance agent with just one company. You don't have any options. That's why I work with the Canopy Group. They're an insurance agency that's unique because they offer 16 carefully selected companies for your home and auto insurance. 16. And behind the scenes, they've got 50 licensed elves. Okay, they're agents, but this time of year, let's call them elves, making sure you always have the best coverage at the best price. So this holiday season, don't settle for fruitcake. Get options. Visit the Canopy Group and see what they can do for you. thecanopygroup.com.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
We are nuts, and we are nuts, mn.com. We were at the Fratelloni Extravaganza on Friday. Guess what one of the snacks that was provided at the Fratelloni Extravaganza?
I bet it was We Are Nuts.
Absolutely, and it was the wonderful sampler pack, too, that was supplied by Mr. Fratelloni, by the way.
We were going to crash that Saturday night, weren't we?
Yeah, you guys were in the area.
Friday night,
I was told. You guys were in the area. It was Friday night.
I was unaware of it.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways.
But the cashews, stood no chance with yours truly in line, by the way.
Why don't you just jump into those milk chocolate almonds?
I almost took the tray and just kind of put it into my bowl like this. Like, don't mind me.
You're
anyway,
like Dan Aykroyd packing in the
Boy, that stuff keeps you regular.
It sure does.
Yeah.
But you can see it for yourself. Check them out online today at wearenutsmn.com. It's wonderful small batch snacks made right here by a wonderful family-owned operation. And you can get them at all of your Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores locations, Lunds and Byerly's, Kowalski's Markets, Cub Foods, Quick Trip, and now available at Colburn's Retail. And the Hokey Pokey Popcorn, by the way, is a fan of the young man in the next room, too, by the way. But again, wearenuts.mn.com. Place your order and let them know you heard about them here on the Garage Logic Podcast.
In national and international stories, the long-awaited disclosure of the Jeffrey Epstein investigative files has arrived, but the resulting digital fallout suggests the public feels more deceived than informed. Instead of the transparency many had campaigned for, the release has sparked a firestorm of criticism over the heavy-handed use of the black pen. Over 100 pages from the Epstein files are redacted, leading many to wonder what was the point of releasing them in the first place. The move also sparked various rumors as to why the Department of Justice decided to hide many of the files. Following the passage of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the Department of Justice began releasing thousands of documents on the 19th, last Friday. This legislative mandate required the government to disclose unclassified records, communications, and investigative materials related to Jeffrey Epstein. Trump administration said that the release was intended to provide closure and demonstrate a commitment to honesty. Unfortunately, most of the pages were kept hidden, and the mass redaction immediately raised eyebrows on social media. Meanwhile, items from the Epstein files, including a photo containing President Trump, were removed by the Justice Department after being up for just one day, according to an assistant attorney general. The image featuring Trump was later reinstated after review. Todd Blanche, the deputy attorney general, said he was rejecting criticisms the removal was related to President Trump and said the photo that included him also showed unredacted images of women. At least 13 files from thousands released on Friday related to late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein had disappeared from the website without any explanation by Saturday.
Aren't you tired of this act?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
The only thing we can deduce is that a bunch of supposedly important guys are really embarrassed about something. It could range from just being pictured with this screwball Einstein, what's his name, Epstein, or they've done something horrible. In either case, they're all being protected by the third rail, and the public is being treated like gum on the bottom of your shoe.
You don't think that there's national security issues here? You don't believe any of the spy angle, any of that?
No. I don't.
Well, you are gullible.
Yeah.
Did see the one of Bill. He was in the swimming pool.
Like
I did see that.
I had not seen that one until today.
All I could think about is Rookie describing Wild Bill's swimsuit. You know, what was he wearing? Was he
I don't know.
Was he going Speedo? Was he going
trunks? We call those trunks.
Swim trunks.
Trunks.
President Trump's appointment of a special envoy for Greenland drew an angry response from Denmark and reignited its concerns about U.S. efforts to control the strategic territory. The president yesterday appointed Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry as envoy to Greenland, an autonomous island that is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, saying on social media that Landry understands how essential Greenland is to our national security. Denmark said it wasn't informed about the appointment, adding to a sense in the Scandinavian nation that it's being kept in the dark about Washington's real ambitions for Greenland, which constitutes 98% of that kingdom's territory. Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen said he would summon the U.S. ambassador to express his discontent and demand an explanation for the appointment, which Rasmussen said came out of nowhere. President Trump is threatening to withhold congressionally authorized funding from the Smithsonian Institution if it doesn't hand over extensive internal records as part of a White House push to influence how U.S. history is presented there. The White House's demand for Smithsonian Institution records and the threat to withhold funding highlight tensions over federal influence on historical narratives as the U.S. approaches its 250th anniversary next year. The dispute raises questions about the independence of cultural institutions, the use of political leverage over federal appropriations, and how publicly funded museums present American history. Speaking of rewriting history, I think we just touched on this last week. The Hall of Fame plaques that the president put up about the presidents.
Yes.
There were some over the weekend that made themselves known. My favorite, Andrew Jackson's.
Yeah.
Did you see this one?
No, I did not.
It says, and President Trump apparently wrote these according to the info we got last week. Before becoming president, Jackson was best known for leading the victory at the Battle of New Orleans during the War of 1812. Jackson was often called the people's president for championing the common man, but was unjustifiably treated unfairly by the press, but not as viciously and unfairly as President Abraham Lincoln and President Donald J. Trump would be in the future.
Something happened at the age of 7 out in the woods.
Did he put a personal spin on all of them, John?
I don't think so. I saw some that were just normal, readouts, little printouts.
Well, Biden's picture, just a picture of a pen.
The auto pen.
Yeah. Waymo.
Which is kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
What are you going to do?
Waymo halted service in San Francisco as of Saturday at 8 p.m. after did you see these pictures?
Yes.
Power outage that left about 30% of the city without power, and the autonomous cars just stopped, causing traffic jams throughout the city because they're unable to function without traffic signals. Suzanne Filion, a Waymo spokesperson, said, "We have temporarily suspended our ride-hailing services. We're focused on keeping our riders safe." Pedestrians posted videos on X Saturday of Waymo cars stuck at intersections and with their lights flashing. Power was restored yesterday to the bulk of the 130,000 homes and businesses in San Francisco impacted by the massive outage a day earlier that caused major disruptions in the city.
Waymo, another solution to a problem that didn't exist.
Who's getting it first, your city or Minneapolis?
Probably Minneapolis.
Think so?
Yeah.
Get stuck at a snowbank?
Yep.
When
spin around in circles.
When China attacks the power grid, it's over for 90% of Americans within a month.
Yep.
There'll just be dead bodies everywhere.
That's right.
As people cannot function without electricity.
That's right.
A death in the music world, Chris Rea. After decades of health problems that sidelined him but never stopped him from making music, died. His biggest hit, 1978's Fool If You Think It's Over. Great record. Hit number 1 on the adult contemporary charts. Hit number 12 on the top 100 pop chart. He had several other records through the years that charted in the U.S., but had his great successes in his home, Great Britain, where he had dozens of records chart. Rea was happy to admit he was a vehicle addict with a huge love of cars.
All right.
And traveling in them helped inspire some of his music. He owned and raced various vintage cars, including, I don't know what this is, you probably do, fellas, a 1957 Morris Minor 1000 police car.
Yeah. Little teeny car. Looks like a Fiat 500.
He was friends with Eddie Jordan.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
For real?
Friends with Eddie Jordan, owner of the Jordan Formula One team, and once helped out in the pit lane during races for Jordan. He had all kinds of health problems starting when he was 33. He actually got out of the music business for a year or two because at that point he had to have his pancreas replaced.
Ooh.
And he had several strokes in the past 20 years. But he still continued to make music. Chris Rea was 74 years old.
You can replace a pancreas?
That's what I was wondering.
I guess.
Yeah, I can find them on eBay.
They have those in Fleet Farm?
I don't know.
Aisle 17.
Consumables.
Oh.
Right by the adult diapers.
Feel-good story from Great Britain. One lucky couple has beaten extraordinary odds to win £1 million on the national lottery.
Big deal.
I know.
For the second time.
Oh, that is a big deal.
Okay.
49-year-old Richard Davies and 43-year-old Faye Stevenson Davies first scooped a 7-figure jackpot playing the Euro Millions Millionaire Maker in June of 2018. And they did it again this month by matching the 5 main numbers in the bonus ball in the lotto draw on 26th of November, the chances of which are more than 24 trillion to 1, according to the experts.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Right.
Faye said, "We knew the odds of it happening again were outrageous, but we're proof that if you believe, anything is possible." However, the latest windfall is unlikely to change the couple's community-minded attitude. Richard is a former hairdresser. He now uses his skills at a shelter for the homeless in Cardiff, a project which received vital national lottery funding while also helping out friends by working as a delivery driver. Meanwhile, ex-nurse Faye is a volunteer cook at Segan Hayden Community Kitchen in Carmathon, while also providing mental health counseling services to local organizations for the Brecon and District Mind charity. Speaking on BBC Radio Wales Drive, Richard said going public this time was something we didn't do lightly. Since the first time, we've been involved in quite a few events with the lottery and charity. There's so much good out there, and at the moment there's so much doom and gloom on the news. It was just a bit of cheer, really.
Is Wednesday night one of those big drawings?
Tonight is.
Tonight.
What, tonight?
Tonight is, and I must say that when we at our home for the 30 seconds fantasize about winning the lottery, I'm told by my spouse we'd be divorced in 2 weeks. And that theme comes up every time we talk about it. Is she trying to tell me something?
Yeah, why not taking the money?
Taking her money and running.
Get ahead of it right now, Mick.
Yeah. Take care of it.
She said we can't afford to get divorced.
So she's going to be hey, I just won the lottery. Pack your bags.
Where are we going?
So, I don't care. Just get out of here.
His time already.
Are you guys still buying lottery tickets?
Yeah.
For the
I buy one.
I do not.
I buy one.
I just buy one Powerball.
One Powerball ticket.
You know, it would be winning the lottery for me if I could have the $100 back I've invested in the last month in the lottery. That would be a lottery win for me.
You're one of those saps, huh?
I am a sap.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that you can now buy those tickets online?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Jackpot.
I did not know that till this weekend. That's kind of
John,
funny.
that's wonderful news, and I think those people are to be congratulated. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, this isn't hitting the lottery, but you'll probably be just as pleased when your furnace conks out completely. And you already know that you can go to welterheating.com to get that furnace fixed, and that's emergency repair 24/7. You go to their website, welterheating.com. They have a revamped website. So if you've been there many times, poking around, checking out the blog, doing whatever, they've got a brand new website. And you can click on those same buttons to find out what you want. But it's a nice, crisp, and clean look. For last, 120 years, the Welter family has been doing a fantastic job of working on all of those things in your home. Furnace repair, furnace maintenance, air conditioning, all sorts of great stuff. Plus the air purification systems as well. Go to welterheating.com. Or if you must, go old school, 612-825 6867. There's 4 generations serving the metro area with certified techs that know exactly what's going on. Since 1904, they've been warming up your shelter when you need it. Don't forget the fine folks at Ray N. Welter. Wow, time flies by.
I know it.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
I don't mean to turn this into the Fratelloni Christmas party fan line at all, but fine reviews from the Harmony Spirits that we had at the Fratelloni gift. I got to have a review from you, by the way, Rookie. Did the gals like the pre-made cocktails from Harmony Spirits that I brought?
They did.
Okay.
Only 2 of them were consumed, but they were fabulous.
The caramel apple rum, first time I've had it, with soda water. Holy cow, was that good.
I'm not sure what they mixed it with, so I wasn't privy to that, but there was high praise for Harmony Spirits.
So if you're entertaining or if you're going out and about, stop in at the tasting room and say hi to Larry and Damon and the entire crew, and those pre-mixed cocktails are there and ready for you. And those 4-packs are fantastic and a great way to show those in your life that you love them and care about them. But you can continue to, if you please would continue to go into your local liquor store and please ask for the Harmony brand by name. That is truly how these fine folks are going to continue to spread the good news. And also, they wanted me to thank all of you GLers that have been stopping in at the tasting room over the last year. They really do appreciate it. And again, check them out on their Facebook page, Harmony Spirits Distillery, and their website, harmonyspirits.net. Joe?
Say, I was remiss earlier in the show, and I apologize. I meant to wish all of us 21sters a happy spring.
Right.
And I got a note from as far away as Dallas from Paul Petraszewski, who writes, Merry Christmas to you and the gang, and from your humble keeper of the Royal Order here in Dallas, where we get to kick chunks every 7 to 10 years. I'm dreaming of a white slush chunk, just like the ones I used to kick. He's the president of the Dallas chapter of the Royal Order of 21sters. And speaking of Waymo, if you had gas in your car in San Francisco, you wouldn't have been stuck there. You could have left. Ford announced that it is killing production of the F-150 EV pickup.
Wow.
Yay!
They are forced to take a whopping $19.5 billion write-down because of the dramatic shift away from electric vehicles. The outlook for electric vehicle sales dimmed significantly this year when the Trump administration ended taxpayer subsidies for EVs and eased tailpipe emission rules. All right. American auto companies are flourishing this year because of their newfound freedom to operate profitably. Ford stock is up 40% year-to-date. GM stock is up 53%. The overall market is up 15%. How about that, huh?
I think that is a ray of hope. That's pushback, Joe.
Hold on. That's a good point, Matthew. Thank you.
Here's today's ray of hope.
Well, you want a ray of hope? I have one right here. Where is it? From Julie, who writes, a year-end ray of hope. There is a boy in our neighborhood, maybe in his early teens, who is a very active fisherman. I've seen him frequently throughout the summer and fall riding a bike that trailers a cart with his fishing gear.
Nice.
He rides past our house down towards our suburban lake with at least 2 or 3 fishing poles. This summer, when I was up just before 6 a.m. walking the dog, I ran into him waiting for the neighbor kid and asked where he fished. I was so impressed he'd get up so early on a day when he could be sleeping in. Just now, on the first day of Christmas break, he went walking by, bundled up, but it had to be him, with 2 fishing poles on his back and what looked to be a small handheld generator in one hand and an auger in the other. I just love this kid. Isn't that great?
That is a ray.
Nice.
Here's today's ray of hope.
And Downing believes we need additions to the GL map. Are you listening, Greg Holcomb, who now lives in Florida, the official GL artist? He believes we should have a Jeff Dayton band shell.
Oh, that's good.
The Newton Winchell Museum of Rocks and Minerals. And if we don't already, a Marjorie Johnson bakery. I think Marjorie's on the map.
There's a Marjorie Johnson's pie shop.
Yeah, there's a pie shop for Marjorie.
Because she talked to Rosie about it.
Right. And one more chunk.
Oh, wait a minute. He's just going to usher Stacy out the door and give this guy the title?
Yeah, how about that? What do you think about that?
I'm against that idea.
Well, I would say that Stacy could be the
it's her joint.
The head of the Newton Winchell Museum of Rocks and Minerals.
No, it's the Stacy Larson.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I'll let Stacy.
There's a little pushback on that, too, there.
It does not sit well with
Walter
me.
Winchell.
The dude does not abide.
Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you!
For 20 years, I worked for Schwann's Ice Cream and Frozen Foods, delivering to rural areas around Minneapolis. Driving around county roads with my truck, I would amass huge chunks in the winter. I would actually see how big I could get them before I either was forced to kick the chunks or witness the chunk calving, like icebergs calve off.
Yes.
It was especially satisfying to see the front and back wheels to calve at the same time. I now live in Colorado where we don't get chunks. I thoroughly enjoy listening to the podcast and wax nostalgic with chunk updates. FYI, last year we had a family move into the neighborhood from Minnesota. I stopped to talk to Eric on my walk down the service road of life, and he lamented about missing the Garage Logic radio show. I pulled out my phone and introduced him to the podcast I listened to on my walk. Keep on keeping on. P.S. I hear President Trump is renaming the San Andreas fault to the Joe Biden's fault.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And only because they come to us all the way from the traveling
you want to get
linemen
to that Viking recap, don't you?
in Kaiwaka, New Zealand. We didn't do a damn thing.
Really?
We did one thing on this day.
December 22nd?
1858, the year we became a state.
What happened?
The Reverend Edward D. Neal officiated at the dedication of the first House of Hope Presbyterian Church building, a chapel that stood on Walnut Street between Oak and Pleasant Streets in St. Paul. The congregation moved in 1869 to a church at 5th and Exchange Streets, and then in 1914 to Summit Avenue.
Oh, I know exactly where that is.
Well, I would hope so. It's pretty noted.
Yeah, it was there. It was there before the House of Wong in Roseville.
On this day in Minnesota sports discipline, that was the mental editing part. On this day,
the show's done.
In Minnesota, no, yes,
this is the fun time. This is fun. This is when I have carte blanche.
On this day in Minnesota sports disappointment history,
December 22nd,
1968, the Vikings lost in the divisional playoffs to the Colts, 24-14, and back in those days, the Colts were where they belonged, in Baltimore.
Yeah. I didn't know the Colts were in the NFC.
Yeah, I guess
I bet that set the tone for Bob.
On this day,
December 22nd.
I don't recall this, 1979, the North Stars were fogged out at a game at the Met Center.
How do you not remember that?
Well, I don't, and I'm sorry I don't, but I just don't.
You should know that the guy wrote the book.
You're the host of North Star
You know what, Rook?
Confidential.
There once was a Met Center.
No, but that should have been in there, fogged out.
Yeah, what was the name of it again? There once was a
there was a
ballpark.
ballpark. Oh, this was a doozy, too. On this day,
December 22nd. I'm not looking at it.
in 1982,
Yep.
Neil Broughton and Wayne Gretzky had a fight.
Oh, I do remember that.
Well, that had to be a purse-slugging fest.
Was it a slap fest?
Yeah.
Yes.
Those two guys were way too smart to hurt each other.
Right.
I wonder if they set that up during one of the.
I wonder.
You slap me, I'll slap you.
Yeah.
Just kinda get
What do you say we give them a show there, Brats?
Yeah. They were the two most unlikely characters to engage in senseless violence.
Oh, okay, great one.
And then also on December 21st,
That was yesterday.
December 21st, 2025, the Vikings beat the New York Giants in the worst football game ever played in the history of the National Football League, accompanied by the worst officiating ever in the history of the National Football League. I went for my 40-minute walk and still had time to see what a crummy game it was.
Wow.
Thank you, GLers.
More to come in just a few moments on Monday Night Sports Talk. Hey, do us a favor. If you have not done so already, hit the subscribe button on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Yep, that's right. Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and you can watch the show each and every single day, starting right around noon. There is also full segments, video shorts. There's behind-the-scenes footage. It's all there for you. Just search Garage Logic, 2 words, on YouTube, along with all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and X. And you can also sign up for the Daily Logician. That's an email that comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Find out more and sign up today at garagelogic.com. It is time once again that we check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold is with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And now is the time for you to do the same. So do not delay. Do exactly what I did and pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. When you call that number, you're going to get Josh. And he is there for you for that free, yes, I use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And he will always give you the straight talk. He will never give you the sugar-coated advice. And he is on the line with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And boy, oh boy, Josh, the prediction markets, they're in a bit of disarray based upon some of the results over the weekend, aren't they?
Definitely. The predictions markets, which we have talked about for the last week, definitely in a bit of a disarray, as many predicted that favorites would win both in college and in pro sports over the weekend, particularly relating to the college football championships and the playoffs and the NFL. I'm guessing, Chris, since you're such a sports fan as I am, you may well have been glued to the TV or maybe glued to your iPhone, because you probably, being a little younger than I am, you're probably streaming all your sports as opposed to sitting with the clicker in hand and going back and forth between channels. Or maybe you have what my son has, 4 screens up on the big screen at once, so you don't miss a play. Or on Sunday or Saturday night, you had the red zone package going. So a lot of very exciting games, but the results definitely threw the predictions markets in a little bit of a disarray, and there were probably a lot more people disappointed in their prediction bets than there were satisfied customers. I mean, a prediction such as, Anthony Joshua was going to crush Jake Paul in their boxing match. Now, that's almost a no-brainer. Maybe the prediction was, in what round was that going to take place? But predicting the outcome, we'll say, of the Packers-Bears game, or the Sooner Crimson Tide game, well, that's another matter. But the predictions markets, which have been rising and have been, we'll say, hurting somewhat, the gaming stock, whether it be DraftKings or Flutter, both of them are down significantly from their highs early on, or any of the stocks related to regional or Las Vegas gambling, all are down this year, with the exception of those that have a stake in, we'll say, China and the Far East, that being Wynn Resorts and Las Vegas Sands. So they've been the 2 winners in that space. Competition is only going to get stronger in those markets, and it's going to make it a little bit more challenging for investors in that particular space, which in the past had been a favorite of mine. Going forward into 2026, got to be a little bit more careful, because these companies look more like, we'll say, value trap or very, very, very short-term trade. So I'm staying in the leisure space, which is one of the areas that I have focused on, along with companies involved in the internet, companies doing business around China, and real assets. But the leisure space, investing around sports, for the most part, has proved to be very good, or we'll say sports and music. They're definitely not going away. And if you have companies that are involved in sports and music and doing business in, we'll say, in China and involved in the internet, well, then you've got a big-time potential going forward. I'll say favorites of mine in, we'll say, music and sports that have done well this year have included Live Nation and TKO. Now, TKO has got to be a favorite, of course, Chris, of my friend Royce. TKO owns Ultimate Fighting and the WWE. Both Live Nation and TKO have very, we'll call it, low float, so it becomes, so I'll say, be careful when buying, and also careful when selling. Use limit orders there, not market orders there. And you definitely need some patience. Live Nation has a little bit more hair on it than does TKO, as Live Nation owns Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is under, I'll say, the watchful eye of the FTC, the Department of Justice, and several lawyers for possibly overcharging, particularly in the resale market. Just something to consider. This week, a short week in the market, with markets open fully today, tomorrow, and Friday, and a half day on Wednesday. So do expect a little more volatility this week, as a lot of traders are on vacation. Next week is the last week of the market year. There will be a little bit more cleaning up to do before we start into 2026. 26. And we'll cover that in more detail as we go along the next few days.
Excellent advice, as always, Mr. Money Talk. You heard him, GLers. Now is the time for you to pick up the phone and make the call for that free 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And you do that just like I did by dialing 952-925-5608, where you always get straight talk and never, ever sugar-coated advice. Josh, once again, thank you so much for the time and the chat. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Look forward to it.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorsed.